Greetings and salutations. First off, I'd like to start this judgment by saying Casker looks really, really hot, and I'm not ashamed at all to admit that I have a crush on her right now as I'm saying this. Anyway, let's meet our competitors. In one corner we have It Just Is, the perfectly pretty pugilist who pummels and punches with precision and panache. Her claim to fame is doing a reverse Freud on Wick and actually turning him straight after sleeping with him. And in the other corner we have King Poofer, whose name is an obvious portmanteau of the words Obama and complete failure. His claim to fame is walking out of the local Piggly Wiggly with the latest Carly Rae Jepsen CD and typing up a bunch of unreadable scroll bombs on his Samsung Galaxy as he hitchhikes home. Anyway, let's get on to the match. Poofer had the right idea at first with the wordplay, poisonous invective, and merry jokes in his first and second post. And the chops. But the match quickly began to capture the primitive essence and crude vitality of derivative mindless crap, with the whole who is the biggest loser argument, and Poofer obsessing over who does or does not spend the most time online. It was meretricious, execrable, malignant, onerous, and really bad. But oddly enough, it worked. He did have his opponent on the defensive quite a bit, but that more or less had a bit to do with the supposed YouTube stuff he found. Now, I personally find PI, real or imagined, hilarious. And considering It Just Is claimed to read up a bit on Poofer, obviously an attempt to glean some embarrassing tidbits and or personal information on him, I really don't care to hear the other side of the story. It's trolling. It doesn't matter if anything is true or not. Whether or not she spends most of her free time playing with a nice hockey stick-shaped graph that looks cool when she shares it with other people on Facebook or Twitter is anyone's guess. But I did get a good laugh out of the angles in question. V-Agent, do you have anything to add here?
Oh, crikey!
Just be glad that he didn't expose every bad boyfriend It Just Is ever had on don'tdatehimgirl.com. Let's see, the post that actually mattered. That story flame entitled Dungeons and Dragons Poofer Style was It Just Is's best post, but more or less for the picture of Poofer with his arms hovering around several 2 liters of soda. That was great. Now, I'm not going to vow to stand vigil here until someone admits and or prostrates themselves for forgiveness for their crime, because quite frankly, the whole ghostwriting thing is too ironic and ignorant a hypocrisy to actually bother taking seriously. Once you consider, Poofer and Pickles have been trolling about ghostwriting for each other for years. Their stories are almost interchangeable, in my opinion, so complaining about ghostwriters now is a bit humorous and farcical, to say the least. Thoughts, V-Agent?
Oh, crikey!
However, this is all just hearsay, not the unvarnished truth or fact, so I'm not even going to bother touching that. I just judge what's there, in between several intermittent bottles of refreshing Pepsi Max. Poofer desperately trying to spurn stagnant material to greater heights by posting it 2 times. The Auction King's post fell pretty flat, except for near the end. Notably, the end of the first one, with that stuff about Shaun White getting Irish whipped into a brick wall. Shaun White is always funny. And the crabs doing 360s when she's wearing a dress. It just is more I owns you stuff with no reason to believe it. More defensive, you don't know stuff about me palaver. Poofer controlled the final page down the stretch, namely the last 3 replies. It Just Is. Actually, that username sucks. I think I'll start referring to her as Sarah Connor from now on. Sarah Connor. Nothing much down the stretch, not to be redundant, and the end of the thread, and therein lies the real deciding factor. Those last 3 posts Poofer made, while not the excruciatingly venerable, hilarious read like the first 2 posts, they were still enough to counter the scant, half-assed effort Sarah Connor put in towards the end. Sarah Connor, in her defense, did toss the gimmicks by the wayside like I told her, and try to be more aggressive. However, a lot of her flames boil down to a really derivative flaming template about cum sticky hands, basements, and way too much unearned foment and bluster when she didn't really post anything truly worthwhile, save for one rambling, multicolored post that was about as easy on the eyes and delightful to read as trying to pronounce the word Saskatchewan while wearing tongue pins. Poofer made a big deal out of the whole ghostwriting thing for nothing. He seemed pretty sure of himself, but he didn't actually bother drawing any real parallels or anything. He just kind of bitched and moaned about it, and it was unequivocally hilarious. See, at that point, I thought to myself, wow, she might actually pull this one off. Sarah Connor has the hedge clippers, and she's got a hankering to do some amputating. Good job. Now follow up with something good? Nope. A bunch of lame throwaway posts and a random Google pic of a dress. Obviously, that kind of stuff just doesn't cut it. The more useless throwaway spam posts you make, the more and more you look like a witless apparition. Poofer, he's a protoplasmic pus as well, but at least he actually tried. Now, just for the sake of posterity, let me judge the decent posts, then henceforth award points accordingly. Great post. That post couldn't be more old-school flaming if your name was Flavor Flavius and you dragged around a concrete sundial attached to your neck. Sarah Connor, great post, the equivalent of the mighty Thor in shop class. Funny post. Congrats, kid. Accidentally drop an envelope of hot chocolate into your coffee. Son. Solid post by Sarah Connor. In other news, my shirt's made of rhinoceros skin, plus I'm a heroin addict. Next post, please. Good post. That post is almost as good as One Direction. Almost. Good post. Reminds me of Jello shots, premarital sex, and a lot of crumping. I approve, essay. That post is great. It's almost as great as Ashley Simpson, who's obviously the best of all. Wow, that post is Poofer, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, fucking amazing. In other news, RoboCop looks pretty badass on Blu-ray. If you get it, I promise you that you will not be disappointed. If you are, I will personally give you a refund. Seriously. Amazing post. Sarah Connor is a fucking legend. That post is a spellbinding masterpiece that is only outclassed by 50 Shades of Grey. Alright, that's enough hyperbole. Poofer wins based on his first two posts and ratcheting up the tempo near the end. Sarah Connor, while improving her flame substantially from cringe-inducing, barely readable tangents, she still just scratched the bottom of the barrel with a bunch of uninspired grandstanding and comic ineptitude. I swear I sound like I'm describing Poofer right now. But he was the lesser of the two shitty evils here. Sarah Connor, pretty much a string of miserable indignities and embarrassing insults that she still has to work on. Random Google pictures of dresses and YouTubes of the Gummy Bear song really only serve to elucidate that fact. Some advice for Sarah Connor and a mantra she should keep in mind when doing flaming matches or whatever. I refer her, of course, to the brilliant Sum 41 album, All Killer, No Filler. Read it a million times. All killer, no filler. Google pics, one-liners, unless they're really sharp one-liners. Don't do it. Poofer, you get my vote, but it's time to take your high school equivalency test. Sarah Connor, you won't leave this match completely empty-handed. You'll be walking away with approximately $17.96 Canadian, which is like 85 cents US, last time I checked. Anyway, seriously, it was a great match. So, congrats to both participants, and V-Agent, my co-host, thank you for joining me. And I think it's time to drop the bass. Drop the bass, V-Agent, Skrillex, or whatever your name is.